Oh, I put this on Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi?
Yeah.
Oh.
I forgot to grab the thing. We're on Wi-Fi.
Uh-oh.
It's all right. We're live. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Chez Davis Live. All things considered, that's not a terrible shot. We're changing something up today. We have, we're in our kitchen. I think you can probably tell from things like, ovens behind us, and it's kind of a dead giveaway unless you keep kitchen. You don't keep ovens in your bedroom.
Dining table is my desk.
Yeah. And normally we shoot that way, but Windows here, we do have a light here to help, and it's helping. It's helping. So, but it's overcast right this second. But the sun was out pretty well. Anyway, we get natural light through here, and when we are oriented the other way, two issues. One, we only have two lights, so we have to try to fight it. We were still kind of dark in the last two videos, just a touch, because we're fighting the bright outside light. And this, I can tell you right now, this actually is going to look better than normal. And we don't have to clean up this mess. So, you see, this is some of, just from that way. Yeah, you don't need to see our nasty kitchen. So, welcome back. Here's what we're going to do today. Got a little outline behind the magic. Show you behind the curtain here. What we're going to do is first, hellos. So hello, we're doing that. First, we're going to tell you a little bit about the new podcast that we just launched. That is one episode in, but it's tons of fun for me because I'm the one mostly doing it. We'll talk about the details in a minute. She'll be joining when she feels like it and when we do interviews. We're talking about our Relocation Roadmap, which is our new, that's our new jam. That's our new thing. We've been working on it for a minute. We just announced it yesterday. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about my Duolingo video, which came out, it seems like a month ago. It came out Sunday, and that's been resonating with people. People seem to really like it. Got some really good comments, and appreciate it all. Thank you.
Yeah, well job.
Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you. High five. All right. So enough self-congratulation. Well, a little bit more. Okay. Then we'll get into the comments. We're going to go through the top comments of the week and answer some questions in some detail beyond what I was able to type for us. And as we said before, ones that are addressed to Susie, I'm in the back end of this account. So she'll see something and, we'll talk, and she'll say either I know what she wants to say because we just talked about it, or I'll tell her and then I'll basically type it. So my voice is bleeding into her responses a lot, but it's her when it's her. Then we'll talk about what's coming up next week. And I have a programming note. There is no Wildcard Wednesday video today. I know you're heartbroken because you're like, what is that? And you're watching this probably on Friday, right? On the replay. They're time-wise, there aren't always a lot of people who can join us live for the live. Mm-hmm. And we can't time shift it to the night. That's why I'm doing the podcast as a nighttime thing, because the baby, and just can't ever predict. We can't be this loud. Baby's room is that way. We can't be this loud and not wake her up, but where we can keep an ear and eye out for her. And we can't be downstairs locked away in the office because we couldn't hear. And yeah, we have a baby monitor, but anyway, the point is that this is really the time to do this, is while the baby's at daycare, we're here, and I work for myself, and so I'm kind of here all the time. And Susie is actively out there looking for a job. Fingers crossed for good luck for this one, and for this one. He needs it too. But this is kind of our window when we're home, babies being taken care of by people. So that's good. So no Wednesday video today as we record, as we're speaking live. Normally we do the Wildcard Wednesday. So it's some kind of fun, cultural, thing. And I have all this footage
Mhm.
that we shot when we did our hot pot a couple weeks ago
Mhm.
outside. Really nice, fun. Our East meets West version of a Chinese hot pot with very French characteristics. We'll slap that one together. That'll be up. I'm just going to say that'll be next week's Wednesday video. And another programming note is that Susie will have to bail at the half-hour mark of this. I'll stay on here, so we'll save the comments. I mean, we won't get to them before then anyway, but we'll try to get to the other stuff first, so that it's both of us, because you're here to hear her talk. So Susie, while I go to the fridge and retrieve my Coke Zero, which I forgot, why don't you tell people what you've been up to this week?
Oh, that's a lot. Where do I start? Oh, I'm very happy we have this chance, this either you call it platform or a chance, a time. We can sit down and share something. I have so much I want to share. Um, um, I'd like to talk about my frustration of getting my carte de séjour. It's been almost half year. I was told my carte de séjour, they had some technical reasons.
Yeah, mechanical problem, I
Yeah.
believe was the phrase they
And,
used. Manufacturing problem, excuse me.
And the first one wasn't made, so they had to issue another one to made. So I'm waiting for again. It's supposed to be finished in 6 weeks. But since right now it is August. For people who don't know about France, August is the month French people are everywhere during vacations, especially people work for the government, the school, the bank.
Mhm.
So things are supposed to be even more slow than usual. So I assume my carte de séjour, I will start to chase again after the end of the August, I guess, the
Mhm.
first week of September. Hopefully I can get it. Hopefully I can get it. I can. My plans to take Jenny to China and finish her China documents. And for that, she needs a French document, travel document. Right now, she only has her U.S. passport, and we have so much we need to do, and we have we failed. I mean, yes, we failed so many times, and we don't want people to make the same mistakes. For example, we've been trying to apply the reimbursement of having a baby here in France. We spent so much money, and it's up at this point. We think probably we couldn't get money back. So, and we probably need to contact our lawyer again, see if we can appeal. But that's another thing that we're probably gonna think about it again, and what was the problems, what we should do right, if we can change it. And I mean, that's that's a whole episode we can talk about later, to make sure if you have a baby in France, you remember to do this before a certain point that you can get reimbursement. So things like this, and we have so much to talk about later.
Yeah. The to that point, that ties in actually what we'll talk about a little bit about this roadmap that we've been building to save people some stress and hassle, along the way, and flagging all these milestones. There are things that we researched as much as we could. We weren't using ChatGPT yet. Now I know that would have flagged certain things for us But again, you don't know what you don't know, right? So no matter how much you research on your own and you get guidelines, I mean, when we were back in China, we needed to move. She's pregnant. Found us a doctor, got us a maternity hospital, got all that set up, got the housing, all the stuff, the travel insurance, the visas, the whole enchilada, got all that stuff set up. It's a technical thing. We'll talk about the details in that video, but for the reimbursement for the pregnancy, super short version, because one of two things, you either have to file some form before you deliver or while you're in the hospital. You have to file some special form with the health department, which we weren't in the system because we hadn't lived here 3 months yet. So it's truly like a catch-22.
Exactly.
There's a catch-22. It's like, well, but we can't do that because we don't have the rights to do that yet. So anyway, yes. So there are a lot of frustrations and things like that we think will make a really good episode to share with all of you, where we really get into detail, where we show you some documents and some lists, and we have some B-roll to make it visually interesting. We'll say things like that for like a proper video to get into the weeds of, because we also will give you tips and links to here's where you get this form, here's where you send it, here's what they need, blah, blah, blah. We'll give you all this in those kind of videos. We have a lot of these practical, logistical sorts of things coming up, like on our to-do list. We just need hours in the day, basically. We need hours in the day to do all this. But the more candid conversations, these lives, we'll talk about a little bit. If there's anything that's kind of more me specific, I'll do it on the podcast. And my hair is still pulled back, but I metaphorically let my hair down on the podcast a bit more, and talk about frustrations and things, and we do it here too. I mean, you just did. But the podcast is a fun vehicle for us to have an unfiltered conversation, whether it's me, as I said, just schedule-wise, logistics-wise, and I've done a lot of podcasting previously. I mean, I had 3 different podcasts of various levels of success over the years and stopped years ago. But I've interviewed hundreds and hundreds of people. I've been a guest on, 50 or more podcasts and TV and radio. So I'm used to doing this. I'm used to doing the hosty thing. That's kind of why I talk so much. It's natural for me to either teach classes or lead conversations. So she's fully capable without my help I could walk away and leave her until she had to go and she could handle it. But it's kind of natural for me to be the host here. So we will also do interviews though. So on the podcasts, we are really looking forward. So it's one part, let the metaphorical hair down, metaphorically let your hair down, and get into the weeds on some things where it's just a conversation and you could just listen, you could ignore my face or our faces, as the case may be, and just listen to it. But we also want to interview fellow expats, fellow French people who have something to share about any aspect of French life. And also we have friends who are expats in other countries. I think we'll start with, so we have several French friends who we know from China. And I have a few French friends in the US who, now US is their home, and a few others scattered around. But in terms of people who are, who will pick up the phone if I call right away, we have a bunch of people who have interesting experiences. So we're going to interview, I can't say who yet. I want to say, but I'm not going to say who yet. But we have been talking with the people behind one of the newer channels similar to ours, Expats. In this case, they're both American, but Expats in France. But they're really growing pretty fast. They've been at it about 2 months longer than us. And so, man, I hope our growth looks like theirs, because they're already up to like 5,000 subscribers. So congratulations to them. And we'll talk about a few things later. I'm actually going to scribble a note right here. You'll know what that's about later. But it's related to this. So anyway, we've been talking to them, and we're working to coordinate getting together and doing a podcast with them. So that'll be fun. We might even possibly, when I wrote them, even back and forth, and when I wrote them last night, maybe we do it as a live. Once we'll get acquainted offline, but maybe we do it as a live. Maybe we have them as guests on a live. I'm not sure how that works. I'll have to look into the math of this. It probably involves, it's maybe too complicated for my setup. We're just on the laptop. I'm not using encoding software, which is why I don't have like fancy graphics popping up and windows coming in, because you can't do that just natively. For the tech nerds out there like me, you have to have a software encoder or a hardware encoder, and I'm getting to that. But it's probably too complicated to do them on the live, because I think it would be like they would be on Zoom, but we can't share the screen in this live anyway. We'll figure this out. I think it's going to be a podcast. I've talked about this too much, but it'll be fun. We want this podcast to be a chance for some real talk with some real people who have real value to bring to us, and therefore it's valuable for us. It's it'll be valuable to some of you. So Relocation Roadmap.
Yeah, I love the idea of doing conversations with people, because do you remember I told you that I heard somebody says that before? It's all the amazing ideas is usually from a conversation, instead of people just think by themselves. Sometimes just talk. Just a conversation makes sparkles of flames.
I'm listening to you. We're getting some messages on WeChat. I'm just making sure it's not something I got. I said WeChat.
Yeah,
on YouTube. I was getting messages on YouTube. I'm listening to her.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to see the new comments.
Yeah. You might have to. You have to go at 12:30.
Yeah. I gotta pick some documents and go to China market to get some stuff. I like to share later, and what I usually get, what we need in the household whenever we run out of, we need new product.
Well, maybe if you have the bandwidth, it looks like it may rain, so she may have one hand on a card and one hand on an umbrella. If you have if it's possible, maybe you can shoot some video today at the Chinese market.
Yeah, let's.
Or maybe it'll be good to take a trip where I can follow you around with a camera while you're shopping. But if you can get something, it's bonus. It's bonus material. Bonus material. Yeah. Susie's a really good little camera person herself. I'm a professional filmmaker, but she's pretty good.
You have no idea.
I got to train her to shoot landscape for video. I got to train her to turn the phone like this. But other than
my
that,
phone is almost full, just packed with baby photos and baby pictures. And once you're a parent, you have a whole folder of baby poopies.
Baby poopies?
Because
I thought you misspoke. Yeah, she does have pictures of the babies. It's like, look what she made.
Yeah. Sometimes the poop looks a little different.
Yeah,
you're worried about.
You want to show the doctor later.
Yeah, so I have got a folder of poops.
I can when we look. So I'm going to look at the time. Yeah, so this will be the moment when we look at the analytics of who watched this. This will be the moment when people are switching off. This will be the moment where our curve goes like off the screen low. Maybe some people are into that, and that's your own thing, I guess. So Relocation Roadmap.
Yeah,
we launched this video. We have been. I'm assuming most of you haven't seen it yet, because as of when I checked it doesn't have a lot of plays yet, and it's kind of my fault, because I'm the production master of all this stuff behind the scenes. And I was determined. I've been working on it nonstop, sleeping 3 hours a night for multiple days. And I was determined to have it out before the podcast went out. The podcast went live at 6 p.m. yesterday. And in that podcast, I'm referencing it. And it's available now. It came out earlier today. I had to get it out yesterday. And I uploaded it at 5:55 p.m. yesterday. It went live 5 minutes before the podcast did. So YouTube don't like that so much. Hey, look, here's 2 videos at once. They don't love that. So anyway, it's there. It's really tight. The little video about the relocation roadmap. I mean, it's less than 2 minutes. It's like 1minute 40 seconds. So no matter how, if you're watching this at all, go ahead and give it a click, and please give it a like if you watch it. Please, please, please. It helps. It helps YouTube to show this to more people like you who are interested in what we're talking about. But the link to the actual relocation roadmap book, we're calling it a book. It'll be a big PDF, and we're positioning it as your comprehensive guide to moving to and living your life in France. And it is soup to nuts from you're sitting on your couch somewhere, wherever you are. It sort of defaults to referencing America, but it applies to literally anyone. The same ideas apply, and anyone can use it no matter where you are. But you're sitting literally at your desk, on your couch, in your chair, in the bed, and you're thinking about making this move. And, it goes from that, where it's a thought, to you're here, maybe not Paris, but you're here somewhere in France, and you're set up and you got everything wired in. You're in a place with the lease, or maybe you bought a place, congratulations, but you're in a place, all your utilities are on, your phone is on a contract plan, not a prepaid plan. Like you're totally got your kids, if you have them, are in school or daycare, you're totally situated. So it is everything you have to do. We wanted it all in one place. Selfish reason for us. I mean, because there's still things that come later that we wanted to have the roadmap. And also there are things you do in your first year here that we're still working on. Like we said, we're chasing reimbursements on the pregnancy, on the delivery, because you get a certain amount back, and everybody does. It's not like a welfare thing or something with a negative connotation. It's what they do, and it's helpful because, being a self-employed independent filmmaker ain't paying the bills right now. I'm between projects, frankly. So that's why we had time to start this channel, because I've been able to put a ton of the behind the scenes work into all this. But, this is our opportunity to figure stuff out. Like we have this window right now, because again, she's hopefully, she's looking for a job, and fingers crossed for her.
Yeah, we talked about this for so long, many times. Before this really happens, we talked about that the first few months we moving our last place. So the creating a channel is always been stuff we discussed. But actually, from idea to actually you start to do it, it's just it takes so many years. But we're so happy we actually start to do this.
Yeah, we both, we talk amongst ourselves a lot. I mean, we talk about this a lot because we're planning and shooting and prepping and discussing and looking at your comments, and that's interesting. And we're, it's great for us because it's helping us build a broader community while as expats here, because we have some local friends. We're fortunate to have local friends, actual French people, real life French people who become our friends, as well as a few other expats. But we don't seek out expats as our default friend group, but nothing against it. It's just who you meet, who you get to be friends with. And as parents of a toddler, we don't have a lot of time for like social activities. We're missing other things in life, but we have what we have, and we love having our daughter, and that's its own crazy, awesome journey. But to Susie's point, I'm saying this because that explains why it's taken it's taken basically 2 years from the idea of doing a YouTube channel to actually start it, a month and a half ago. So we're only 6 weeks in. If you're watching this, you're in on the early days of this thing, and we're growing. when I bop over the comments, I'll refresh the page to see. We had, when I started this, when we clicked go, we had 399 people subscribed to the channel. We're almost to 400. When we get to 500, YouTube lets you add things to your page and your platform, and we're going to start to add some fun those little extras that you can do, you know.
I realized something that I want to tell you. We totally get it, how difficult being expert to
expat. We're not experts.
To move abroad, to just to bring everything to a new country, surrounded by people you don't know, while you don't even speaking the language. Do you remember the day when we have the housewarming party? Now I'm thinking all the families besides us, all of them are, at least one of the family members are French or French America or
right.
French Chinese.
Yeah.
Just born Chinese people born here, the second generation. So we are the only family not from here. And one of my friends, both of them are Chinese, but they moved here 20 years ago. 20 years ago, 15 years ago, something like that. So and they have deeper connections in the Chinatown here. So for us, we are the total expat. We don't have connections before we move here. And our friends been helped us so much. His colleagues and my friend we made here, and our French friends we made here. So I'm thinking for any of you maybe watching this later might have our kind of a similar situations. We don't have a deep roots here, and you can make this. It's difficult, but you need a community. You need people can help you, or friends like us, or friends you make here later.
I couldn't have said that better. That's ultimately the goal. This relocation roadmap thing, it's meant to actually build a community. We mentioned briefly in the video and briefly on the intro page that gives you the full outline of what it is, that, people who pre-order the book or later order it will be part of regular, we'll get together and do these group calls where it's us and then you and anyone else who can join, where we just basically, it's like a forum where we talk about stuff, and we want to build that to where, we envision a whole series of videos that's just really for that topic. And that's actually, we'll probably have like a private series that's like a membership thing, super cheap, but like a way that like everybody and you don't have to have bought the book to do that. You could just be like a member of the channel, which is coming when we hit 500 subscribers. You can be a member of the channel and support us in that way, which would be awesome. But we want to be able to do something for people who are either on the precipice of making a similar move, or you've done it, but you're in the middle of it and you're like, oh crap, what do I do next? Or what am I not thinking of? Because that's the thing. Again, you don't know what you don't know. So we have done a super deep dive and also consulted, GPT and the internet at large and friends. We are building this thing to be comprehensive, but we want it to be a community. And, if we eventually have enough people and enough of you end up in Paris, we'll have to have some get-togethers, and, we'll have to go to Picard and get some little mini quiches and put them in this oven and get some boxes of wine. Just kidding. We'll get you actual bottles of wine. We kind of like box wine. Hey, the French drink it. The French sell it. So I was going to say, don't tell the French, but they know they made it. But yeah, we'll have to get some snacks and some wine and have a little to do. I'm looking at the clock. I see it says 12:30.
I gotta get going.
She's got to bail. I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to talk another hour, depending on how long it takes me to get through this, because there's a lot I want to say. I want to look at comments. So anyway, if you haven't, really quickly, even just for curiosity's sake, please, it would mean a lot if you would check out that relocation roadmap video for us, and give us a thumbs up, unless you totally hate it, which is your choice. Just please don't hate it. Don't give it a down. Don't give it a down, a bad thumb. Thumbs down. That's what I'm trying to say. Thumbs down. Couldn't find the words. But check through it, and if you have anything, maybe you don't need it at all, but you have experience you'd like to share. There are several people who are expats who watch this channel, I know, that comment, and you have experiences to share, and they have been to different degrees, but share, right? In the comments of that video or wherever, let us know your thoughts and tips and tricks and some challenge you overcame that you didn't perceive, and oh my God, and here's how I dealt with it. We'd love to know that, and it's great for anyone coming to this channel to be able to see that. So check it out, and also it's, pre-ordering that. It's a way to support the channel, this cute little baby ours. I mean, these diapers are expensive, and we appreciate it. So I'm going to let you,
Okay.
I'm going to move and let her out.
I can walk.
No. I can do this.
Okay, all right.
I can do this.
You better.
I'm coming right back.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye. All right. Good luck. Good luck slaying your dragons. All right. So now here's what I really think. I'm just kidding. Trying to make her laugh. So please check that out. Yes, my Duolingo video came out. I'm really appreciate all the great comments. Had some really awesome comments on there. And I'm going to adjust this just like this. There we go. That's slightly better. Had some really nice comments on that video. Appreciate everyone who watched it and took time to add their 2 cents to it. And, I learned that we're not alone in how we use it. And I also learned that some people, I heard from people using it in all kinds of different ways. So the response to that was really, really awesome. We appreciate that. Let us know what else you'd like to see. We're not a language teaching channel, of course, because we're language learners. We're in the middle of learning this language. We'll have more to share about that. We do have plans to do a video that is more about, that details other ways to study and learn the language. But, we're not going to, bye-bye. Text me when you find out find out the info. Okay, cool. If you just joined us, Susie was here and she just had to run away. But on the replay, you can see the first half hour with Susie. Is that rain or is that a truck? That's a truck. Okay. I heard some I'm like, oh my God, is it pouring rain like that? So, so we don't have like a million things to say. We said what we want to say about Alliance Française. And again, we both like it. We're about to get into the comments in just a second. I understand people, everyone has different, some of you right now are locked into this and totally focused and hanging on every word. That's probably a few people. Most people are, paying attention, watching it, but then they're also doing other stuff. And then some people are just kind of casual. So I understand if people maybe watched, say, mostly her video, or saw all these comments. Oh, you didn't say this, you didn't see that. Actually, she did. They just didn't watch it very closely. If someone lacks listening, if English is a second language, then totally understand. But if someone is a natural English speaker, there were a few questions that I could tell they missed something. They might have let it play and got up and refreshed their beverage and missed that key point of whatever they're asking about. So no worries. But we try to address a lot of that in the comments. So let me bounce over to the page where I see the comments, and we can. Hey, we hit 400 subscribers just now. Since we started this live, we just rolled over to 400 subscribers. So hello, new person. If you see this, thank you for joining. And let me bop over here to the comments. And I have to get my cheaters on to read these comments. Let me see. Is this glare? Yeah, you okay? All right, that's not too terrible. The glare, you see the hi ring light right here. Behind the scenes magic of YouTube. So I gotta do this. Look at these comments. Don't mind me leaning into your lap here, if that's the apparent result of me leaning forward. So let me scroll back. I'm going to start. What I want to do is start, because I've got a bunch of these that I mentally flagged. Let me scroll back to, we addressed everything up until the Duolingo video came out, basically, right before that. So there were still there were a few comments about, let me see. So Philip McDuffie asked about Alliance Francaise, responding to Susie's video, was asking if they teach you modern spoken French, which is very contracted, or formal textbook French, which is only formal contractions. Ask if there were native French speakers, were the teachers, like born and raised in France. Do they teach listening to understanding modern spoken French? And then he made the point, you will not understand much of anything a real French speaker says unless they did, and that it'd be a big waste of time and this and that, and how he had seen someone go to college for French, in French, passed all the exams, but can't speak French or understand the language. So, and I basically said, I totally understand. And yes, Alliance Francaise, as I mentioned, they don't stand on a desk and scream, now this is modern spoken French, but they did. And actually my teacher really went out of her way to talk about regional differences in slang and dialect and like general ways that people around France approach the language. And we even talked about Quebecois, right? We talked about how the Quebec people's French is so different than French in France. And for instance, Parisians especially have these abbreviations, like the word for Saturday is samedi, right? Samedi. Parisians say samedi. They just say samedi, right? It's like two syllables. So there are lots of examples of that. So there's not just, so that's very modern spoken French in Paris, for instance. So we learned quite a lot of that. And, so I appreciate that comment. Sorry, I feel like I'm about to sneeze. Pardon me if you're watching me fight off a sneeze on the internet right now. I think that's about to happen. I can't fight it. I'll try to do it off camera. Ross 6753 had commented on a short from my video. There was saying French is easier for Americans, and he agreed. He basically said, it's funny because Americans often think it's the opposite, like French is some sort of recycled English. And I talked about cultural imperialism and things like that. So I couldn't help myself. Our good friend Von Fromage, Daniel, who's always bringing the good comments, was corrected something from the live last week, that pont neuf, which the word pont is bridge, and neuf is the word for 9, but it also means new. So pont neuf means new bridge. And then ironically, he says in a follow, it's like the oldest bridge in Paris that's standing, apparently. But Pont Neuf apparently means new bridge, not bridge 9. So I appreciate it. Stand corrected. Von Fromage is going to have some other comments pop up here. Jean-Philippe Planas, if I'm saying your name, your last name correctly, just said hi and thanks, and has commented a few other places. And Philip McDuffie also flagged the new bridge thing. He was the one who mentions it's the oldest standing bridge in Paris, and that's what connects the left and the right banks. We did know that, but yeah, there you go. Some of you watched the Seine River Cruise video, and that was my music in there that I wrote, performed, produced, mixed, mastered. That's the theme song for my short film, The Unwinding. If you're curious about my actual career outside of this, I do like movies and TV shows occasionally as a producer. I'm really a writer director who became a producer by default. I talk about this, and there's an intro. There's basically like a 2025 reintroduction to me video on my personal channel. It's in the community post I think that's for subscribers only. But if you're watching this, you're probably subscribed. If not, go ahead and click it. It doesn't cost anything. You can see all the community posts. But there's a little video there where I talk about things, but there's a film that I made when we were on our extended honeymoon reunion tour in 2023 in London. Made a film called The Unwinding, a long short, and it's done really well on YouTube. It's a 25-minute film. It's not a video. It's a 25-minute film, dramatic film. Very proud of it, and it has almost 400,000 subscribers, like over 5,000 likes and 1,000 comments. And it's been touching how much people responded to it. But that song that we use in the Sun River Cruise video is something I wrote 30 years ago originally. And it didn't fit into my band. I was a professional rock musician in one of my previous lives. For years, almost rock star. I was almost a rock star for 5 minutes, basically. And that's a song that did not fit into my like hard rock soul band that I had and was the writer for. And I recorded a version with an amazing singer, this amazing female singer. But I redid this myself as an instrumental for that film, and that's what's in there. So if you like it, please enjoy. Eric Arnell has been commenting. Hi, Eric, if you're watching this, because he's commenting on the previous replay about he's planning to. He said, "Be glad to hear your story about what brought you to France and Paris in particular." Well, I'd be happy to tell you, Eric, and we have touched on it a bit in some other places. I think what I'll do is I'll save the deep dive on that for the podcast this week. I've been thinking specifically to frame it up because last week's first podcast, first 15 minutes or so, 20 minutes is like what it's about, what we're going to cover. Then the bulk of it is why move to France. And I talk about why you might want to move to France, depending on what category of life you're in. Are you going to university as a student? Are you a retiree or pre-retiree? So I jumped to that end. Then going back, are you a digital nomad type? Or are you like the majority? We have a lot of different people on here. Our demographics hit from like 18 to 80 on this channel. So that's cool that people, those of you who are watching. But, I look at, college students, digital nomads, then working age people. So between, early mid 20s up to, late 50s, early 60s. And then we look at pre-retirees or retirees. You are retired or you're about to retire and you want to move here. So we talked about that in some detail. So for this week's podcast, back to what I'm saying about Eric Arnell's comment, I'll get into the story of what brought us here. I'll get into the long and the short of it. I'll tell you right this second is, as I mentioned, professionally, I've been a film producer for, over 20 years. And I've done a lot of independent films. It's always tricky when somebody says, have you done anything I might have seen? My default answer is probably not. Depends is the real answer. It depends on if you're a horror movie fan. There was a horror movie that I was one of the producers on called Dead Girl that was pretty popular and successful 17, 18 years ago. We finished it 18 years ago. It came out 17 years ago. Really intense hardcore horror film. And that's not my genre. Just the writer directors were friends of mine and needed help with some stuff. And so I was one of the producers. I've got a co-producer credit. I wasn't the guy in charge of it. But, there's that. I helped produce this popular hip hop dance movie from New Zealand. It's kind of like the Step Up movies, but it's a New Zealand version called Born to Dance. I produced the first season of this massive Chinese hit TV show. It's been running forever. I think it's been running now for 24, 25 years. The Chinese name is Jiapin Yu Yu. They came up with a name for the English language version called The Best, as in the best writers, directors, actors, producers. They came to Hollywood. I was executive producer for the US, produced the show with my colleagues and my Chinese executive colleagues, including the guy who created the show as the main executive producer. And we had all these amazing guests. I mean, we had Stan Lee and Night Shyamalan, Justin Lin, the director of the originating director of the Fast and Furious movies, and tons of other stuff. He directed, I think, a Star Trek and a lot of other things. The actor Sean Astin, who some of you know from The Goonies, some of you know from Lord of the Rings, and some of you know him from all those things. And if you don't know him, you'd recognize him because he's been in a million things, TV shows, movies. But we put, and then plus also like some other producer director types who maybe their name isn't as familiar, but produced this whole series, which was insane. I'll talk about that on the podcast. I'll get into the weeds of the stories and me visiting their set in Beijing when I ended up going back to Beijing. But, I produced this series in Hollywood over about 4 months, I think back in 2013. They started airing in 2014. The first one with Stan Lee aired on Chinese New Year's Day in January 2014, whatever that specific day was. So, but yeah, I came here because I've been attached I'm the producer for a project, a long running project that is set in Paris. It's set in the world of Paris high fashion. My friend is the writer, director, creator of this. Friend from Beijing, but he's a Palo Alto guy. So he's from Northern California, and that film is called My Favorite Season. And it's sort of like The Devil Wears Prada meets Whiplash. It's its own thing. I won't get into the details of the story right here. I'll save some of this for the podcast in case people aren't interested. And I don't want you clicking off. I have a lot of other comments I want to talk about and some other things about what's coming up that we'll get to after we go through comments. But that film, we had it set up. I was living in Beijing still at the time, and we had made a proof of concept short film in Los Angeles. We'd come to Paris for about a month, location scouting, we came during Fashion Week because it's set in the world of high fashion. So we were going to these shows and checking out behind the scenes and meeting all these people, hiring a lot of our local team, one of whom has become my great friend Eric, who lives 3 blocks away. Coincidentally, we moved 3 blocks from one of my best friends and colleagues in France, this Parisian guy named Eric, who's one of our line. He's basically our line producer. He and his partner are line producer and production manager, respectively. So, and we've referenced people who've been an enormous help. He's the single biggest help to me and to us about getting established and dealing with logistical things, or getting on the phone with me / for me to call IKEA and complain about the orders being screwed up when we moved into this place, helping me with setting up the water bill, because you can't just do it online, and you have to pick up a phone, talk to somebody. And so I'm not at that level of my French, So anyway, that film, we had all the financing arranged. We had most of it in the escrow account. We had a meeting set in San Francisco that I was planning to go back to Los Angeles for mid-February of 2020. That was on the calendar to go back and close finance on this. And then we are going to basically move ourselves to Paris then and spend 6 months prepping. Then the shoot is basically 2 months. It's scheduled over about 6.5 to 7 weeks. And then there's a week of allowed for pickup days and just shooting pretty pictures with the camera, So it's about a 2-month shoot. And then we're going to do post-production, all the editing here. So we knew, this gets to how Susie and I got here. We knew that when we came to Paris, that because she was going to, come with me, right? We weren't married yet. We were boyfriend, girlfriend since later 2016. But, approaching the end of 2019, we had made the short film and come to Paris January, February in 2019. So toward the end of 2019, we're making plans was making plans to go back to San Francisco. We had a closing date, and I forget, I have to look at the calendar. I just know that I was supposed to travel on February 11th. We had a ticket to go back. So I'd have a few days, and then we had the closing, and then a few more days. I was going to go to LA for a week to see some people, get some stuff out of my storage unit to bring back. And then I was literally flying from I was going to go back to San Francisco. We were going to fly together to Paris, me and my writer director for that. And so I'm in Beijing in early January. Late December 2019, we started hearing reports we had one of my colleagues, she had a bunch of family, a bunch of relatives who work in the medical, some doctors, some people in other parts of healthcare who lived down in a place that has become world famous called Wuhan. And they started saying, there's something weird going around down here. We don't know what it is, but it's not good. And we're hoping it doesn't spread because this was coming up on Chinese New Year. Anyway, I'm not getting into this whole thing right now. I'll save this for the podcast. But basically, we had a closing date set for this big film in Paris that we knew would move us here, me and Susie, move us here for at least a year from when we started prepping, make the film, finish the film, we're done, at least a year, probably 14 months. And then we know what happened in 2020. So I was on the fourth to last United flight out of Beijing, January 26th, 2020, to go back to the US. And then 3 years later, I flew to Paris and reunited with Susie a day later. And then the rest is our story. And we, had arranged to get married in Copenhagen because that's easier than France. And we did that, came back. We're in France 2 months, UK for 2 months, and we went back to Beijing. Found out she was pregnant 3 weeks later. So we accelerated our own move. The movie wasn't set up to start yet because it fell apart during COVID. We had it put together and fell apart multiple ways. And we kept thinking that COVID was about over. We kept thinking travel restrictions would lift. There were these production protocols to shoot safely, supposedly, although COVID was active. Didn't really work for our sort of film. So I'm getting into more detail than I planned to about this, but I'm wrapping it up now to say that, we accelerated our move back here because she was pregnant. So we calculated the last safe day she could fly. That's when we flew. And everything was fine. That's the scariest flight I've ever had because so nervous, like, please don't let anything be wrong with her in general. But while we're in the air, while we're in an airplane, don't let anything be wrong with her and the baby. Unfortunately, everything was great. We got her checked out the day after we landed. And then if you've seen our channel, you've seen pictures of our adorable baby, and she's awesome. She's teething right now. She was screaming. She woke up screaming her little head off louder than any point previously with teething stuff. Oh my God. I mean, I came upstairs because I was downstairs working on this channel. I heard it and I ran upstairs, and Susie had gone in there, and I mean, I thought that there was something bad wrong, but it was teething pain. So Doliprane, wait an hour, and she went back to sleep. So, so Eric, congratulations. You get the world's longest answer to your question today. I hope you like this sample of the long story. That's actually the short story. But basically, in a sentence or two, I have a big movie project that I'm seriously invested in. It's like a theatrical movie. I mean, this is like in theaters kind of movie with movie stars, and even if you never see it, if we make it, even if you never see it, you won't be able to avoid it. It's it's got some big people attached to it, and it's the biggest thing I've ever done. You look me up, and I've got a bunch of independent films that are the biggest thing I've done is around outside the TV show and some things like that, and things I've worked on a little bit. It's the biggest movies I've done previously have been like these $500,000 to $2 million and a few cheaper, but $500,000 to $2 million kind of indie features that you mostly never heard of unless one is in your favorite little niche that you like hip hop dance or horror or weird comedy. I've got a weird comedy under my belt as a producer. So yeah, that's that's why Paris in particular, Eric, and we love it here, but we do long term. If we ever make this movie, at that point, frankly, I'll have at least enough money to look at us getting like a little house somewhere, not anywhere near here, not anywhere near Paris, but we want to look around. We've been around a little bit in the country. We have not explored the South yet. We've flown over it a couple of times, but we really want to spend some time checking around. I mean, and even like South Central, like not South Central, not South Central Los Angeles, but I've been there plenty of times for music video shoots, which is its own story. But like Aix-en-Provence, right? One of my French local producers, he lives in Aix-en-Provence and he has an apartment in Paris because their office is in Paris and he commutes on the weekends. So we want to check out the rest of France ourselves and find a place we love that we can afford to buy ourselves our own little, like our actual forever home, because we're renting this place we're in now. We love this place, but a place that we would actually buy. Even if we could afford this, we wouldn't buy it. We want to get a place that's in a big enough, like a really large small village, like a really large village or a medium-sized town. I love big cities. I mean, Atlanta's a big city. I'm an Atlanta, Los Angeles, Beijing guy. Those are my cities before Paris, where I've lived for huge amounts of time. So I'm a big city guy, but I mean, I also love the countryside and mountains, and I love the ocean. I don't swim in the ocean, but I love to be by the ocean. That's not really in the cards, I think, for us in France. But I'd love to be in some place that's gorgeous, but it's got all the conveniences we need, that has awesome supermarkets and has good health care, of course, and it's important with having, by the time we could do this, Jenny will probably be like in grade school. If we're lucky, it'll be when she's in grade school, but because she's 19 months now. But we definitely want to be on or super convenient to a TGV train line because we want to be able to get into Paris, we want to be able to get to major airports, because I basically, my work is project based. When I'm not in production on something, there's like the development of multiple things at once. And then the issue is what goes first, what actually kicks off and happens. So I need to, and for my own just peace of mind, knowing that we could get on a train and be in Paris in 2, 3, 4 hours, whatever it is, that would be convenient for us. So Eric, mentions he's interested in more medium-sized cities on the high-speed train line, like Orléans, Rouen, and Toulouse. Yeah, and I told him basically, me too. That's kind of our jam. So, Bogey Johnson on Susie's Duolingo video. Duolingo French isn't even French; it's a crime. And he posted a bunch of videos of people trashing it. And I appreciate the comment. I mean, it's he was coming on her video, probably hadn't seen mine. I talk really specifically about what it's great at, what it's good at, and what it kind of sucks at, or what it's not built to do. So fair comment, but it's got its place. S.H. Freund, several very nice comments. You can look at my Duolingo video in the comments. I'm not so immodest that I will read this one because it's very, very pleasant and flattering. But essentially, glad to be here. Slick Salmon, our buddy, asked us, who he shouted out. We did a whole Slick Salmon segment last week because he's always got the good comments. Thank you for watching. I know you're watching the replay. I don't see you on the live right now, but I know you're watching the replay. Ask the question about Duolingo. Don't you ever run out of hearts, or do you have a paid subscription with unlimited? Yeah, we have a paid subscription. We started like everybody. I started with the free plan, had the ads, and I finally got a paid subscription, like the lowest level one, whatever the lowest level paid plan is. I got it per month, and I would cancel it sometimes. But like during COVID, I basically really committed to learning French. That's when I started in I mean, I had the app on my phone. I've had Duolingo on my phone for years. I was trying to use it for Chinese once upon a time. Probably like whenever Duolingo came out, I had it. I had it 6 months after it was released. I've been using Duolingo a long time, just not for French. French for 5 years. But yeah. So if you want unlimited hearts, I mean, and if you probably use Duolingo. You're probably familiar with it, even if you're not an active user. So the hearts are the ability. It's basically your allowance to use the thing without interruption. And so if you have a paid subscription, you don't get ads and you don't have any limitation. You can do all the exercises available at your subscription level. If you pay the max plan, which is their kind of ultimate thing, they have AI chat, AI video calls with an animated avatar. I tried that stuff. I don't like it. I just think that's discussed a lot in the comments actually, but I discussed it in my comment to Slick Salmon a little bit. But we have the super plan now, which is the tier down from Max, because Max didn't work. I'm an iPhone guy. Susie's Android. The Max plan did not, at the time, the AI features, that is, did not work on Android. And that thing is expensive. I got it for her birthday. That's what she wanted for her birthday last year. So I got it. But then turns out that a lot of the bells and whistles she couldn't even use. So that was disappointing. So lots of great tips. Philip McDuffie circled back around with, Susie I pulled a short from her Duolingo video about master grammar first. And Philip had wonderful comment about how things work. The student's responsible for learning, right? And the teacher is responsible for teaching the language, but they have to teach grammar, reading, listening, and comprehension, speaking, writing, culture. Et plus d'autres. Sorry, my pronunciation sucks for this, and much more is what he's saying. He says it in French. So, in very nice French. So he says that, he incorporates chunking, which is a method of like focusing on chunks of something and getting that drilled into your brain. And then you learn another chunk. And before long, you can associate your chunks. Like, this chunk for saying like I am going to, or I will, or I was, or I did, or I might, that chunk of me and the thing, me and the activity and time. And then, or, me and the time factor. I am, I will, I just did, I did a long time ago, I will a long time in the future, a far time distance in the future. You learn that chunks of that is, I think, what you're referring to, Phil. That's how I interpret it, because that's what I've done too. You learn those chunks, and then you learn the other, go buy groceries, faire le cours, right? So then instead of trying to remember, 6 or 8 or 12 words, you're remembering 2 or 3 chunks. Putting them together accelerates it a lot. And he has lots of good comments. So yes, I wish you luck. He says, well, wish me luck. He's describing his plan and what he does. Wish you luck, Philip. I hope it's going well. Slick Salmon again, another comment about, he's a strong supporter of raw repetition. So for him, he's saying optimized spaced repetition doesn't seem to stick for him. The best way for him, he says that his strongest learning sessions have been during like a long solo commute in the car, where he does like listen, repeat style on something, and just drill. Like, and he said it was less like instruction and more like brainwashing. Totally understand. Susie does that when we do our dialogue practices out of her book that we've shown in some. She shows it in her Duolingo video. And a little bit of her Alliance Française video. But each week she memorizes one of these dialogues and then gives me the book. And we roll. It's usually 2-party dialogues, hence dialogues and monologue or group conversation. But we will run it. I've got the book and she's doing it from memory. And what she'll do, though, she'll record the whole thing. She'll actually use Google Voice to find a French sounding AI voice and do both sides of the conversation, then split it up. So she's filling in the other side, and she does that on a loop when she's, bopping around the house doing her thing. Doing other like household tasks. She's just got that on a loop, and she actively practices it, but she's also letting it wash her brain and drilling it in. And then when we sit down, usually the second day, she does that during the day before we practice dialogue at night. By the second night, because we do it kind of after the baby's in bed and everything, by that second night, she's mostly got it. And it's just memorizing it to memorize, but that's been really useful for her too. So I think that's a great tip. The prisoner has also been good at commenting here and shared a few things. And so on my Duolingo video, these comments from when that popped up, it seems like a month ago. It was literally 3 days ago. It was Sunday night that it came out. Crazy, because it's really done well. I really appreciate all the support for that. Thank you. And I tried to make it super tight. It's this, Susie's is her experience, which I think is helpful to have that. And then mine, if you haven't watched it, mine's real short. Again, if you have 4.5 minutes and you're halfway curious, go ahead and give it a click, because, I break it down really surgically. And truth be told, I had a really tight outline, and I basically got each point in my head, spoke my point, looked at my next point, got it in my head, spoke my point, and then I cut out the looking at the page, right? I cut out me looking at my page to get a point in my head, and then I said my bit. So it's just super, super tight, But I talk about what it's good for, what it's great for, good for, or not suited for. And because my premise, Duolingo won't make you fluent, but this will, is the title. The prisoner commented, does Duolingo claim anywhere that it will make anyone fluent in any language? See, fluent is C1 or C2. We have another comment or two I'll get to in a moment where somebody took exception to this, but I think they're misunderstanding. Like someone else I'll talk about here in a moment. The point of the prisoner, French Duolingo stops at B2. And it explains that B2 gets you through everyday conversations, but it's not, they have a method to their madness, but they only go so far. He mentions he ignores the gamification. If you can't make progress without needing to play games or lacking genuine motivation, don't disagree with you, but some of us, Susie hates the whole thing is gamified, but the side quests that are not on the learning path, she doesn't touch it. She hates them. She actually hates them. She was pretty diplomatic about it in her video. I'll tell you that she hates them. She hates them, and she laughs about them, about how much she hates them if it comes up. The prisoner says his pronunciation's gone from almost zero to pronouncing about 95% of all words correctly. Kudos to you. It gets you to a level where you're ready to go out and get real life experience. Hope this is helpful to anyone trying it. He uses the paid version like me, because he uses it regularly. And if you're going to use it all the time, try the paid version. Unless you truly can't afford it, which is understandable. I couldn't afford it today. I would consider if I wanted to pay for it right this second, but we have an annual subscription that's already paid for. So if you can, try the paid subscription, see if you like it, because it'll make your experience very different. You'll roll through stuff. It won't kill your momentum. That's my issue with that. I appreciate everybody's got to make money. They're giving it for free. Let me watch some ads. I would much rather have to watch 3 minutes of ads at the beginning before I start using it, and then no ads for however long I'm using the app, or for half an hour. But instead, they break up every section with ads, and you got to earn these hearts. You got to watch the ad to earn little points to keep doing it. Drives me crazy. I'd happily give them 5 minutes of time or 3 minutes time where I got to stare at the screen, watch the thing, click a button. Yes, I watched it. Yes. Then just be able to go through the lesson. Okay, so this was so S.H. Freund, if I'm saying your name properly. Again, kudos on the Duolingo video. It says, it's incredible how you manage to structure such complex content about a language learning app so precisely and in only a few minutes. Really impressive. Thank you very much. as mentioned before, I was determined to make that one super, super duper tight, and it applies to anyone using Duolingo regardless of language. That's the other thing about that video. I reference French maybe once or twice in the video that I'm using it for that. I initially used it for Chinese. Well, I initially used it for Spanish to see. I took their aptitude test and was pleased to discover that, at the time, like 25 years out of high school, I still was like 34% fluent in Spanish, which is amazing to me. But yeah, that video of mine was meant to help anyone using Duolingo, no matter the language. So that's why it was so tightly outlined. And I just mentioned, the how I did it. I kept an outline to make sure I didn't ramble on like I have a little bit in this live so far. Lynn Marie is popping back in and said, thank you for creating this, and asked if there are any grammar guides or workbooks she'd suggest. And I mentioned that Susie has her book, Grammar and Dialogues, which is out of frame over here. It's under a stack of other stuff. So I won't go get it. That's the only French grammar book I've used. I looked at one that my mom had when I saw her at some point on a visit back home to see her. But yeah, that's the only one I could recommend. If you, dear listener friend, if you have any French language books or tips or resources you want to share, please drop them in the comments. Lynn Marie, or Lynn Mayer, I think actually the spelling is not Marie, it's like Maire. So maybe it's Lynn Mayer. Apologies if I keep calling you Lynn Marie. Let me know what the proper is when you have a chance, if you see this. But please drop those resources in under my Duolingo video or Susie's would be probably the best place to drop those comments in. But that'd be great because, people read these. People chat and learn from each other here. Again, Eric Arnell gave some nice comments, seconding some of the points I made in the Duolingo video. There was a comment that I don't see I think it was maybe a reply that I don't have expanded all the replies. But Walter Drescher has commented a time or two, and thank you for watching, Walter, if you're watching this. And I can't seem to put my finger on his comment, but he mentioned that he feels he's actually gotten pretty fluent in Spanish and Japanese with Duolingo. So the comment was sort of taking exception to me saying it won't make you fluent. But what the prisoner pointed out is, fluent is technically like C1 and up. So me and Walter, my actual level is like early A2. Susie's level is mid B1 right now. And, we know we're not fluent, but we know enough that basic getting around town, chit chat with people, no problem. If we had to talk to the water company to establish service at this house, problem without a script. So, we can say hello and what we need to do because we looked it up and memorized it, but then the conversation gets really, really, advanced, amazingly enough. So that was the point. The prisoner clarified that nicely about what the fluency levels are. So yeah, Annie Shenanigans. Hi again, Annie. She watched my podcast. There's some nice comments on the podcast. We're getting toward the end of the comments, by the way. If you are watching this, but you're losing your will to live, please don't do that. But if you're wondering when I'm going to shut the hell up, it's coming. I foresee it. It's happening in the next 15 minutes total. Because after we go through the rest of these comments that I wanted to sort of highlight and address here, we're going to talk about what's coming up next week. And I have a question for you. So please do stick around. If you're watching replay, you have the advantage. And if you're watching replay, but you're ready to check out, you can skip toward the last 3-4 minutes of this video because I'm going to ask everybody a question, and I'd love your response, please. Down in the below, down where the comments go. Annie Shenanigans, hi there, Annie. My episode 1 of the podcast was titled "Why Move to France," and that's what I mentioned at the top of this. I looked at that question depending on what stage of life you're in. So I get into a lot of detail, and she basically says, "I wish I was born in France, but finally I'm retired." And she mentioned that she just watched a history video about the history of the revolution. I assume she means French Revolution. And regarding wishing you were born in France, I said, me too, most days. Some days. I mean, I'm proud to be an American. But, I was proud to be an American. That's its own story. I talk about things like that on the podcast. If you want the sauce of your takes, tune in there. But you probably have a hint how I feel about the current situation back home, i.e., not a fan. So, but yeah, I'm 25% French ethnically. My dad's mom was born in the U.S., and I guess they were technically Cajuns. They're French born in Louisiana. Her parents, my mom doesn't know. My dad's dead. Nobody to ask. I don't have any brothers or sisters. My dad had 2 daughters from an earlier marriage, but we're not in touch. We've never been connected. We met one time. We met for the equivalent of a few weeks on Facebook. Said hi, nice to meet you. Anyway, long ass story. If I ever talk about the details of that, that's definitely a podcast kind of conversation. But so I don't have anybody to ask, but my mom's best recollection and understanding is that my paternal grandmother, she was definitely born in Louisiana, but her parents were French, French. She thinks she's not sure if they came over as little kids or if they came over as older people, to resettle. She doesn't know if they both came over with French families and met, fell in love, had my grandmother, or if they actually moved over together. But my grandmother was born in Louisiana. Her parents were both French. I'm a quarter French. Yay me. The rest, if you're curious, haven't done a 23andMe kind of thing. But if there's a way to do that without giving away the rights to my DNA for God knows what nefarious purpose in the future, I would consider it. But yeah, I'm mostly English and Irish. I'm like a third Irish, a quarter French, and the rest is English or Welsh. And there's a little some Scotsman snuck in there at some point. But I'd be curious to know, what percentage Chinese I am, because apparently all of us have a little tiny little bit. I'd be curious to know if there are any surprises. Somebody might have had some yard babies. That's a Southern expression. Comment below if you know what a yard baby is. Yeah, sorry. It's popped in my brain. That's what happens. Vin fromage. Okay. I think we're closing in on the end of the comments. A couple of big ones from Vin fromage. I promised proper responses to Daniel again here today. So get ready. So let me summarize his comment. You can read it on the Why Move to France episode 1 podcast. You can read his whole comment, read what I wrote, but here's the more detailed answer. Basically, he said he enjoyed it. Thank you. I enjoyed doing it. He said that he thought that because I asked in that video, what else should we talk about on the channel? And excuse me, he mentioned that he thought a topic worthy of some discussion for people considering long-term visa, how to nail down residence address to meet the 3-month or so residency requirement for the visa. So he explains his thinking and he's heard or intuits problems with doing an Airbnb site unseen. That's what we did for the move here. That's actually what we did when we reunited here originally, before we got, when we reunited here after COVID to then get married, because Susie was stuck in Beijing, I was stuck in the U.S., with travel restrictions and everything. When we could finally travel, we met here, and the rest is history, and a YouTube channel and a baby. But I booked this. I got here a day before Susie when we reunited. I booked a hotel, the Pinta Hotel, near the Charles de Gaulle Airport. I like the Pinta Hotel. It's really arty, groovy. I recommend it to people. I'd stay there again if I had to for some reason. Stay in a hotel near the airport. That's a place I'd say. I would stay at the Citizen M first. I love Citizen M. I give them $100 a year. I'm part of their M Plus membership. Love Citizen M. Don't get to use it that much, but I've gotten the $100 back by discounts. The handful of times I've used it in the last 3 years, I've gotten that money back for each year. I only joined the Plus program actually last year, but yeah. So anyway, sorry about this tangent. What we did is we booked a hotel to land in, and on the reuniting, details for us are kind of our story. You may not be interested, but I'm going to tell you really quickly. We had our date to reunite. I arrived on January 4th. She arrived January 5th. Happens to be my birthday. I arrived January 3rd. She arrived January 4th. Then we spent the full birthday here. Got a haircut, got a great meal. And then we went off to Copenhagen to get married. So the place we rented, we found it through Airbnb. I found some places through Airbnb, but the renter was we rented through a place called Paris Attitude. And they rent and sell. They're like a rental agency, and they also have a sales side. And we found this place in the 18th. I don't want to go on about it now. That's probably its own podcast thing. The people were lovely. The landlord and his wife owned that apartment. They lived right next door, and they would bring us like they bring us Greek coffee, and pastries and stuff, and they would bring us baklava and Greek coffees from time to time on like fancy little silverware, like authentic cultural experience of Greece from my next door neighbors. And the place was cute and functional, and it was great for me and Susie. It was like a little reunion love nest. But the neighborhood I described it as hood adjacent. It's pretty hoody. It was we definitely learned how to spot pickpockets. We didn't have any problems. No one even tried to mess with us because I learned how to spot them, and I'd make that kind of eye contact that says, I see you. Yeah, I see you. And I know what you're doing. So I developed like big city game face from my travels, and it served me well. So we didn't have any problems. Knock on wood that we don't in the future. But back to Vonne Fromage's question, back to Daniel's question. We booked that place, and it was fine. It wasn't available to move into. There was somebody in there. They had to get them out. They had to finish their lease, then clean it up. So we were in a hotel for 5 days. Then we moved into the new place. We stayed there one night, and then the next day we flew to Copenhagen for 5 days, got married, came back, and then we spent the rest of the month there. So, and then we booked another Airbnb for a second month, but that's just when we were on our tourist visas at the time. The move here, when Susie was pregnant, we were moving. We booked a 2-month Airbnb near the maternity hospital, convenient to the maternity hospital and her OBGYN. Hospital's in the 15th. The doctor and our place that we booked were in the 16th. We booked a nice 2-month place, 2-bedroom, 2-bath. We needed a place so my mother-in-law could come for the second month because she was there. She was going to come over. She came over to help us with the baby. And oh my God, that lady is a saint. And she cooked all kinds of yummy food and a few things I didn't love, to be fair. But she cooked a lot of yummy food. And man, she was awesome. We could do that'll be me and Susie thing, right? It's basically talk about, and she knows I've said this privately. I said it to mother-in-law to her face, and Susie translated because she only speaks Chinese. And I don't speak Chinese well enough to tell her what I want to say. I can say a little bit, and then Susie would elaborate. You translate my English where I elaborate. My Chinese is super basic. It's way worse than my French these days because I don't practice it much. I have a few phrases. We say a few things around the house. This has turned into a bit of a podcast. apologies if that's not what you signed up for. But if it is, you get a bonus this week. So we had 2-month place, and then we didn't know where we were going to go. But we had our residence visas. We had our VLSTS visas. My visa, mentioned this other places. I have the passport talent visa, which is the hardest one to get, apparently. And I am in the artiste category, which is apparently the rarest category, the rarest category of the subcategory of the category, because it's connected to that project that still hasn't started. So that's exciting. That project is still trying to come to life, and I can't get into the details of that for non-disclosure reasons, but there are deals in place and things happening that, knock on wood, we actually get into pre-production on that thing spring of next year and shoot it a year from now. So meanwhile, I've had time to start a YouTube channel with my wife, and I have projects of my own as a writer-director, because that thing I'm the producer of. Everything else I'm doing, I'm the writer and the director of. And in one case, I'm the co-writer, but in all the other cases, it's my own totally original material, and I'm the director, and also will be, one of the lead producers with somebody helping me out. I'm making some progress on a film that's set mostly in Paris. We got about a week in and around London, a couple of days in London, and then probably 3 days at some country estate near London. We have a few different potential places we actually shoot it. In the script, it's Henley-on-Thames. If you're British, or if you really know your fancy, London sort of suburbs, exurbs, if that's the right use of exurb. Henley-on-Thames is in the script for the place where there's this estate that this billionaire widow lives. That's like a subplot, but it becomes a big deal. Anyway, that's a film of mine that I really love. And that's a script of mine I really love. I hope it becomes a film that you get to enjoy and maybe love. So we're making some progress on that. Basically, if any of you are connected to the actor Harry Treadaway, or the actresses either Florence Pugh, Nomi Merlant, or Daisy Edgar Jones, if any of you are connected to these people really well, let me know. I could use a friendly connection to those people, because to talk to their agents, you have to have the money in your hand. I mean, I know this is a long shot, but hey, I'll put it out there. Is anyone watching this in the entertainment business? Let me know in the comments, please. So sorry, Daniel. I went around the world and came back again to finish answering this comment. So yeah, don't be scared of getting a 3-month Airbnb to get situated. I think he's saying 3-month residence requirement. I think he means you have to be here within 3 months. Here's what you have to do with the VLS visa. You have to validate your visa within 3 months before 3 months passes. We are going to do videos. We talked about this at an overview level in several other videos, overview/outline. We are going to do deep dive videos on all the aspects of moving to France, living here, getting established. Those are all things we're going to do. We're going to use that relocation roadmap, which you can look on the webpage, and the outline goes through it. We're going to, maybe not all in chronological order to start with. We'll put them in order from start to finish, but we'll do them. We're not starting at the beginning necessarily with the videos. The course book will do that for people, and the community calls will help people with that. But we're going to do videos going deep on all these topics. So short answer to your question, but maybe longer than what I wrote in the text in the reply, is you must validate your long-stay visa within 3 months of living here, because your long-stay visas are typically good for like 1 year and then renewable for up to 4 years, depending on your situation. You may have to reapply every year. There are different situations for different people. In my case, at the end of a year, toward the end of a year, you apply 4 months ahead. But I got a 4-year titre de séjour, which is your residence card. So I have a 4-year residence card. So ultimately this has become 5 years so far. I had a 1-year visa. Now I've got a 4-year residence card on top of that follows on. So I don't have to renew it till December 1, 2028. which is awesome. Let me tell you, that's a good feeling. But, 3 months is plenty of time, I think. Now, for most people. Now, in Daniel's case, specifically, in another comment, he talks about some logistics, and I'm going to get to that in a second, and then we're going to put a little button on this on today's episode. We'll wrap it up here in shortly. But he asked about insurance and getting the insurance. So don't be scared. I mean, we came over here with a 2-month Airbnb, and then we found the place that we ended up living 15 months where we lived before this that we talked about. There's a video all about our old place and our move to our new place. It's a 1 hour, 40-minute moving vlog. I mean, a vlog implies it's like this, really. It's not a vlog. I probably need to retitle that, but it is a long haul. As edited as it is, it's basically a documentary about our move before and after. But we were in a place for 2 months. We found, again, when we came over, we landed and we stayed in a hotel 2 days to allow ourselves to just set our bags down, be able to be waited on and serve food, and not have to, wash towels, just to be able to situate ourselves. And also, the place we were moving into wasn't available the day we needed that we were going to arrive. So yeah, don't be afraid to do that, man. 3 months is a month more than we had, and my wife was six weeks from giving birth. So what was tricky was being in our room where she's recovering and the baby's asleep in the little baby crib beside her, the newborn crib, and I'm on Airbnb trying to find a place for us to move in 2.5 weeks. That was a challenge. We got super lucky, but also he mentions about the health insurance requirement. I'm blanking on the name, and I've given the money. I know there's a website called like Schengen Visas. If you search Schengen Visas health insurance, it's called like Europe something. It's a stylized version of Europe that doesn't have the E on the end. I think it's EUROP, and they have this expat insurance. It's pretty affordable. It's pretty darn affordable, and that totally suffices. Unless you have, again, everybody's situation is different. If you have some crazy specialized medical condition, you probably need to like really pay for like the international version of your Aetna or Cigna type plan that will cover you and airlift you out of here in an emergency. Actually, like medical repatriation of remains is part of the policy that we had. But if you have some specialized medical situation, yeah, you probably need to have that really top shelf premium insurance. But this other stuff is basic travel insurance, and it satisfies the visa requirements. And I don't know your situation. He mentions in another comment, he's married, so he's got a wife. I don't know if he's got kids they're bringing too. But for me, plus a pregnant woman, which made the premium go, whoop, it went from like, here's what it is if she's not pregnant, and then here's where it is if she's pregnant. But it was pretty affordable. It was pretty affordable. It was around, I think it was around, I can't remember exactly. I'd have to look it up. I think I mentioned this in some other video, but I'll look it up and tell you on the podcast if I think about it, or in the comment. I'll say in the comments here below. I'm on a mission now to remember this and tell you the answer that you asked for. But it's pretty affordable. So Schengen visas, travel insurance, and there's a website that you'll find. I'm going on about a lot of things anyway. I hope you enjoy this style of conversation. If you do, you have a sense of what the podcast is like, although I feel more guilty of time pressure right now. But I'm not going to stop and make you watch me search on my phone for this place. But you'll see the one, and I'll look it up and I'll put it in the when this goes live. I'll put it in the comments. We have no affiliates. We have no affiliates. We have no sponsorship. The only thing we have technically for sale is the pre-order of the Relocation Roadmap. It's a hidden page on my personal website, my personal website is crazyinagoodway.com. because that's sort of my philosophical belief, is that you have to be a little bit crazy to live and survive and thrive in this world, but hopefully it's in a good way. So crazyinagoodway.com is my site /roadmap. And it's linked in other videos. It'll be linked in this video in the description if you're curious. But that's also a way, even if you don't necessarily, maybe you're not planning to move, but you like the channel, want to support, want to pre-order this thing, it's much appreciated if you do. Not trying to be, we don't want to come off as too salesy or beggy, but we could use it and we'd appreciate it. If you got 48 euros laying around, and you just want to help us out, we'd appreciate it. We're getting a lot of curveballs to our financial situation behind the scenes that aren't really for me to put out on YouTube in detail, but we definitely could use it. But again, we've been planning to do this roadmap thing for a long time. We've been working on it a long time. And the publication date is October 1, and we're going to price it at 99 euros when it comes out. And maybe we sell one, maybe we sell 1 million. And I buy a new camera. I'll buy a new camera way before selling 1 million of those. So anyway, I want to say, I think I answered that and then some. I did a mini podcast around your question, Daniel. So you're welcome. Then his other comment, this is much briefer. So if you're hanging on for dear life here, attention-wise, we're coming up on the end. So Daniel's other question, he asked in the relevant question, how to move your stuff to France? Yes. That's getting its own video and deep dive. I wasn't trying to I wasn't trying to pull a Southern accent out of my pocket. I got one. I never talked like this. My parents weren't related prior to marriage. I never talked like this. I have an Atlanta accent that's camouflaged by my Los Angeles accent, which is then kind of where we landed. But I'm losing my voice from talking. But how to move your stuff. And he says he's a guitarist, owns a recording studio in Oregon. How to move 20 expensive guitars safely along with recording equipment, furniture, cooking utensils, a telescope, and more. His wife yells, garage sale. But, there's stuff you can't let go of. And he says, I have conceded to letting the piano find a new home, however. Yeah, piano, I don't recommend putting the piano in a cargo container. If they got pianos in France. They do. I've seen them. They have pianos here for sure. So, but hey, 20 expensive guitars, bring them and actually just let me hang on to one. I need an electric guitar. I don't have an electric guitar at the house. I can't afford to buy one. I have 5 songs I need to record. I have everything but an electric guitar. And so in all seriousness, we have plenty of room. So if you want to store some things here, you're welcome to, man. We got a lot of room. I got a store, an extra bedroom that's a storage room. I'll make room in the office. I'll put them on the wall on those nice little hooks. I'll be happy to store your overflow. So here's the good news is within a year, to answer the question, you have a year from when your residence visa starts. If you're coming as a tourist, none of this matters. But they might hassle you with things you bring in as a tourist because they think you're going to sell it and make money in France or something. So, but I haven't heard of that happening to people. I just understand that technically that can happen. But from when you validate your residence visa, again, we'll look at this and give you the details because, of course, I'm sure there are as many caveats and exceptions as there are to the rule, right? But generally speaking, you have 1 year, a 1 year grace period to move your stuff, move your crap within a year, or else you pay a duty on it. And they prorated for age and this and that, but they put a valuation on things and they look up. You got a fancy electric guitar? Well, they're going to put a value on it like it's that fancy. They're going to look it up and like, oh, that's worth it. Oh, okay. So you got some rare, vintagey, pricey stuff. I mean, it'd be cheaper to, assuming that one person could carry 2 of them and no luggage, it'd be cheaper to hire 10 friends and buy them round trip tickets to France and back to each carry 2 guitars. It'd be cheaper to do that than to pay the duties if they're expensive guitars once you have to do it. So yeah, finding a good shipping company, good luck and Godspeed, brother. They exist. My old producing partner from years ago, 10 years, he was also this huge guy he is this huge guy in the vintage car world. Like he's like internationally renowned. You like a name drop. You would know him if you're a fan of like Jay Leno's Garage and stuff. You know, my old producing partner has been on there a lot. He and Jay are friends forever. They bought and sold and traded cars, and he's been a guest on Jay's show. There are lots of. He's kind of at the nexus of that. He started the service. I'll just say this sidebar because it's interesting, and I got into it way back when he was in high school. We're the same age. We're both 57. When he was in high school, he and two of his other. He grew up in Hollywood. He's like fourth generation Hollywood. His dad's director, grandfather director, producer, former head of Columbia Studios. His great grandfather came from vaudeville and helped found the studio system. Fourth generation Hollywood, you know, rich kid, but not spoiled rich kid, rich in experience as well as money. And he and two of his other friends like him started this service in high school as their money-making thing, where they were already all like massive car fiends and restorers, and becoming expert restorers at like 15, 16 years old was their story before I ever met them. But they started this service that was catering to the cars of the stars. And at different point, and they have these hangars at airports like Santa Monica Airport and Van Nuys Airport and a few other places. But they were based at Santa Monica Airport in these hangars where they used to maintain and store Tom Cruise's cars, Axl Rose from Guns N' Roses, Jerry Seinfeld. They used to take care of Jerry's cars. This was, I mean, they weren't all around at the same time. I'm saying over the years, but over the years, he's bought and sold, and he's found crazy exotic cars for all kinds of people. What's my point? Like he moved there was some like $13 million Bugatti that he picked up from Hosni Mubarak in Egypt and delivered to Ralph Lauren in upstate New York. So he knows how to ship stuff. My point is that he knows how to ship stuff. He is nowhere near social media. He won't even own a smartphone. He's one of these he's like retro to the end, retro till you die kind of guys. It's a point of pride that he only has a flip phone. He gets a new one when he has to. So he's not on socials. You can't ask him on socials. He tries to keep a low profile. That's why I haven't said his name. I've said enough that if you're super curious, you could do some searching and maybe figure out who I'm talking about. But he's been on TV and stuff, but he's not a public facing guy otherwise. Anyway, I can reach out to him if need be, because he's used to moving super rare, expensive, valuable, big stuff internationally. He's done it. That's basically his business. Like besides his own adventures, of which he has many, he's kind of an adventurer and explorer type. He's in the Explorers Club and these, you know, he's climbed like 6 of the 7 tallest mountains in the world and led expeditions and filmed. He's climbed some of the tallest mountains in the world, walking backwards, filming people. I mean, absolute insanely interesting. He needs his own YouTube channel far more than I do. He's about 1,000,000 times more interesting than me. But anyway, he chooses the life he's chosen, which is why we're not producing partners anymore, sadly. Because he born in the business. He equated it to like, what if you grew up in a town where the biggest business was the rock quarry and your family co-owned and helped run the rock quarry. When you grow up, the last place you want to work is, maybe that's the best job in town, but the last place you want to work is the rock quarry. He did for a while. He worked in the Hollywood rock quarry for a bit, and he had enough. You know, we had some successes and some not successes. We'll say, I don't like the F word, but failure. You know, we won some, we lost some, we had some that were kind of a draw. And at a certain point, 10 years is a long time. It's as long as it seems like I've been talking. So let me wrap this up by saying that, Daniel, if you really need problem and you're in Oregon, you know what? When he left LA, he lives in Oregon now. This is crazy. Yeah, he lives in Oregon. That literally just occurred to me. So see, dear listener, not named Daniel as well, that's the value of having a little free range association, as I like to say, free range for association time, because it just occurred to me. Yeah, he lives in Oregon now. I haven't been to his new place because I've been living in China and now France. He lives in Oregon. Dude, he absolutely would know the person you need to talk to. So um, go to my website. There's a contact form. I don't like to say my email on here. Go to crazygoodway.com, just the main page. You don't have to look at the roadmap thing. Just go to my page. There's a contact form. Click my picture as the cover. There's a contact form to email me. Write me. We'll chat offline. I'll get you a connection to the guy who absolutely knows the shipping company you need to use. Because the guy who moves all these cars around the world is based in Oregon now. Okay, wrapping it up. I want to say Walter Risher, yeah, he mentioned that he does Spanish and Japanese with success. Family of Genius says hi to you again. They appreciated the podcast a lot. Great podcast. You touched on a few things of great interest to me. The political mood, the realities of getting healthcare, attitude of people toward immigrants. I'm very, very tired of the political and cultural extremes that infect every part of my American life. I'd love to be reassured it's better there, i.e. here. And I told Family of Geniuses, thank you. And in short, it sure is. Better by those measures, at least now. So I can testify. Ayush Kumar, if I'm saying your name properly, that's a nice name, simply says clarity with a cool emoji that's like, it's like the skull and crossbones, but it looks like the friendly kind, like about my Duolingo. So like clarity. Thanks. I tried. That's what I said to her. That's what I'm saying to you. Last comment. I'm going to give you a like and a heart right now in real time because I just saw it. Fatima Janet, I believe is how to say your name, says, well worth watching. Thank you. Your photo is of a gentleman, so I'll say thank you, sir. And if I'm misgendering you, it's not because I'm trying to be a jerk. It's because I'm going with the picture I see. Okay, listen. Next week, we need your help. I said we were going to throw this out there. We need your help. We're going to record a video today. I'm recording this Wednesday. Oh, shit. Yeah, only if you're watching this are you going to be able to help. But you can help for next week. So this still works for the replay. We need your help this weekend, next week. We have several different video ideas that are kind of front burner. We have 20 things we could do tomorrow. Category-wise, I put a little poll up on one of the community posts. It got about 5 to 6 responses. That's cool. Appreciated. But basically, for next week's video, I will do a community post about this so more people, so subscribers at least see it in time. I'll do a community post about this after this, actually. So I should actually, let me get a screen grab for the community post. Everybody ready? I'm going to screen grab myself. All right. I'm going to edit that, put that in the community post. What do you want to see more of? The categories are practical/logistical things. How do I get my visa? What do I do about health insurance? That was a little dry for my taste for like a proper video next. But what do you want more of in general? More practical/logistical, how to move, how to do this thing once you have moved and live here. What kind of thing do you want in that category? Fun stuff. Wildcard Wednesday is normally our Wednesday video that's not coming out today. And you know this if you're watching Friday because there's no video on Wednesday that you see, other than the recording of this, which was Wednesday. That's like we're doing this, how we did our East-West Hot Pot thing. That's coming up next. Other things in the fun category for us are different travels. We need to cut together the video about our visit in Porto. We spent only a week, but it was an awesome week. We saw a lot. We saw enough to make a cool, not too long YouTube video that gives you like a nice overview of Porto. We saw a bunch of the big sites. We saw the city, the river, both sides of the river, kind of traveled around. It's pretty cool. So we have a lot of really great video. I shot the whole thing. I was originally, before this YouTube channel, I was shooting everything. When Susie and I reunited, I'd gotten the, at the time, brand new iPhone 14 Pro Max with a terabyte of memory. So I could shoot full HD, full 4K, like the high-end 4K ProRes. I have 4K ProRes footage from around the damn world on this phone from our trips. And, I'm a filmmaker. I shot it with the intention to one day do a family documentary. And it turns out that a lot of that stuff I'll be able to share a lot of it with you. I see the thumbs up. Thank you for that. I can't give myself a thumbs up. I'm just checking. Yeah, I didn't do that. The 2 thumbs up from people. Thank you. So I don't see anyone in the chat. I don't know if that's okay. I just switched back to live chat. All right. So do you want to see more practical, logistical, or fun stuff? So fun stuff is travel related. So we have video about our time in Porto. We have videos about UK, both northeast of England and then around London. We have a lot of London experiences. I mean, that'll be a long video, ironically, although probably about 3 weeks time total, spread out over 5 or 6 trips, like a week, and then 3-4 days, 3-4 days, 3-4 days, and like an overnight or 2 for different things. So we already done the Copenhagen video. So fun is that category. So, and then there's language stuff. Now, we're not language experts. We're language learners. We have other things to talk about our language learning journey. So if you want to hear more language content, let us know. If I see the thumbs up counter, click as I'm speaking, I'll assume that you mean yay to language. But comment below when this is posted, please. And let us know for our long range planning, because we have a rolling master list of ideas that we keep kind of reprioritizing. And man, if we did nothing but do videos for a year, we wouldn't finish everything. So we really want your feedback on what's useful to you. So I am going to, shout it out. I just want to shout out, we're getting for a few channels, our new friends at Roaming Retirement. Hello to y'all. It's been really great to see your channel. They're just a few months ahead of us, and their channel's taken off. They're growing like a happy weed. Is that a metaphor? There's no offense meant in the metaphor. It's just the way my weird brain works. But their channel itself, like YouTube, is sending a lot of people from their channel to our channel. So you may already watch Roaming Retirement. Really good channel. Nice folks. Seem to be really nice folks. They live down in Nice, which is a very nice place. I do know that. I can tell they're nice folks from the videos. That much is obvious. Baguette Bound, we never chatted, but their channel, people who watch that channel are coming this way. So thank you. There's the French language learning channel, Comment Français, with a host named Geraldine. I've never chatted with Geraldine, but her channel seems to like us too. So you might have come from there. I mean, they come here and then people watch. Like when you look under the hood, I see that a lot of people get sent from these channels and then they watch our videos. And I can't cleanly see if they're the ones subscribing, but then I can notice like subscriber numbers go up. So that means that we're getting some of you folks. And I have to shout out Lucille HR, French girl living in Paris with her American boyfriend of 8 years. And she has a great channel. I love that girl's channel. It's so fun. It's useful and interesting and informative. But if you don't know Lucille HR, it's Lucille with only 2 L's, meaning the first one, and then there's one in the middle. Lucile, and then capital H, capital R, I think is how her channel is stylized. Her channel is pretty popular, so if you pop that in there, you'll find it. I really like her channel. It's great. There's a channel that's not sending us any traffic. That's fun. It's called it's called Amusing Ada with lowercase a, capital M. So like as in she is you would say, I am amusing Ada. I guess her name's AIDA. So love her channel. Beautiful. And I gather that her partner, who she talks about, well, interesting thing. She talks about how she doesn't talk about her partner much. I'm guessing boyfriend, because I've seen very mannish hands in person. And I think it's a boyfriend. So I'm just going to say boyfriend. And again, if I'm misgendering you, I do apologize sincerely from all of my middle-aged Gen X trying to get that stuff right heart. Okay. Don't think I am. I don't think she's watching this. So who cares? No, I'm just kidding. I love her channel. It is so good. It's so cinematic. Even the video about she got a new place. She finally bought her first little apartment, and here's how she redid it. And that kind of stuff's interesting anyway. But it is beautiful. It is shot as cinematically as anything on YouTube, and put together, scored, edited. She's incredibly natural. I'm sure it's very scripted in terms of outlined, and maybe she is like getting a certain phrase in her head for them. Maybe she's writing it and then remembering. Maybe she's doing it from a script, but she's not like, you can tell when people are doing this with you see their eyes moving. her channel is beautiful. And I gather that her boyfriend, we're going to risk it. We're going to say boyfriend. I gathered that they are a professional. I think that her boyfriend's a professional actor, maybe a director though, or producer. Producers are often also a writer or actor or director who just producing is what they're more natural at. Her friend is a professional in the film business, her boyfriend. I can tell this from, she's gone out of her way. It's basically said they're in a creative industry, and because of the work, they travel a lot. And then I'm looking at how the channel is shot and paced. And yeah, so Ada, I got your number. I mean, metaphorically speaking, I don't have your number. I don't need your number. I'm married. You got a boyfriend. What I'm saying is, it's a beautiful channel. So if you haven't checked that out, please do. It's just so nice. And she travels all around. They take, not just throughout France. She lives in Paris, but they travel all over. She travels all over France. She travels to other countries, and I just love her content. It's beautiful. I've talked about it for 5 minutes, so I must. Okay, so, lastly, of course, we always love Les Frenchies. We get a little traffic from Les Frenchies. Not enough. Not enough. Come on, algorithm. Hook me up, YouTube. Les Frenchies, Les Frenchies, Les Frenchies. There, I'm saying it so that it scans it in the transcript. But Baguette Bound, we love the Baguette Bound channel. Never talked to those folks. Seem really great. Seem really nice. They're doing their own version. We're doing our version of our thing is a version of the thing they're doing. They're in the Southwest countryside, raising a daughter who is super smart and awesome and funny on camera. Like a tween, I think, like 13-ish, maybe. Is that? No, I'd say technically it's a teenager. Their story's fascinating. They do a great channel, and they have done already some of the how do I apply for this? How do I satisfy this requirement for this visa or this need? They've done tons of really good videos on those topics, which helped us. So again, we got no affiliation. They don't even know me. I don't think they watch this channel yet. Baguette Bound, if you're watching, say hi. Let me know. But their channel, the algorithm, people who watch their channel apparently watch this too. So thank you for that. I'm Brendan. On behalf of Susie, I appreciate you. I appreciate your tolerance for me going on so much. When I tell her, because she had to leave at 12:30 and it's almost 2. So when I tell her, yeah, I talked an hour and a half after you left, nonstop. She ain't a piece of gum. Didn't get a new piece of nicotine gum. It's about time to do that. I don't smoke. I just like nicotine gum. Is that weird? I do vape, not in the house or in my office with the window, door closed, window open, fan gone. Yeah, I've never been a cigarette. I've smoked a cigarette, but I'm not a cigarette smoker, but I love nicotine gum. So anyway, speaking of that, I need to go. Thank you very much for watching. We appreciate you a lot. Don't forget, liking and subscribing. I'm not going to go on about this too much. It actually does matter for a young channel. It really does. It warms my heart to see people coming on. Once we get 500 subscribers, we can do some cool new things. Oh, we lost a subscriber. We were at 400. We started. We're at 399. Somebody unsubscribed. Or it could be YouTube going, oh, that's a robot, and they kicked them off. So anyway, we get 500 subscribers. We're going to do a really special video, and we're going to roll out some cool new stuff here that'll enhance the experience for everybody and be really cool. So thank you for watching. Don't forget, comment, hit a subscribe, if you will. Make up for the person who just disappeared. By the time this comes out, if you're watching the replay, hopefully we've got a couple people come in. But thank you very much. It means a lot to us. Sincerely, this is a great chance for us to get to share stuff, not feel alone in the wilderness of the suburbs of the big city, if that metaphor makes sense. But we appreciate it. Thank you very much. We'll see you next time.